What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and again, a happy new year to all of you guys. And instead of doing the healthy thing this new year and looking ahead at all the things that could be, let's do the unhealthy thing and look back at all of our regrets from 2024, specifically every NBA team's regrets from 2024. Let's jump into it. Wow, wasn't that a fun intro? Welcome back to Bleacher Report, everybody. This is a cool article that I saw last night while I was going to bed, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I should definitely do this one and then post it on January 2nd instead of January 1st. So you know what? It's fine. You know, we're not perfect on this channel, and that's totally okay. But anyway, team's biggest regrets from 2024. I'm gonna guess, just because Kat is on the cover of this one, that this isn't the Knicks regretting it. I'm gonna guess it's these people in the background that are regretting it. But anyway, like, I think about regrets of 2024, specifically basketball wise, and like for my own team, the Chicago Bulls. I mean, there's a laundry list, right? There's a complete laundry list of things that I regret for this team. And I'm sure a lot of teams do, but I'm going to guess that there's going to be some that are pretty hard to do too. Like, what do you do for like the Celtics, right? Who just won a championship and everything, right? What are you going to say for them? I don't know. Maybe it's you spent too much money or something along those lines. But anyway, hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. So if you leave a comment, I will respond to it. It's that simple. But anyway, let's go. All right, Zach Buckley, writer of this article, what do you got for me? The Atlanta Hawks. Okay, not identifying a more definitive direction. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so that you guys can see a little bit more. Not identifying a more definitive direction. Okay, so I tend to agree with this one, right? Going into this offseason, they moved on from DeJounte Murray, right? A lot of us thought, okay, maybe they go after like a Brandon Ingram or something like that in a DeJounte Murray type swap. Maybe they kind of try to do more of a retool and go into the season with a different look, right? There was some Trae Young rumors too. Like, some people were saying, hey, just blow this group up. This group isn't really working. And right now, if you look at it, the Hawks are the 5 seed, I believe, right now at the time of recording this. And I guess you can't be mad at that, right? At the end of the day, the East is all very close, and it's not like it's a phenomenal record. They're slightly above 500, and that gets them the 5 seed right now. But what have we seen so far? Like, Trae Young, interesting season, right? Overall, the efficiency's like in the garbage, but overall, like, he is kind of evolving to be just more of a playmaker than a scorer. But I don't even know if I can completely say that, because he's just missing a lot of shots, and he's still putting up like 22 a game. So maybe he's still exactly the way that he is, but defensively he's locking in a lot more. Jalen Johnson's looked really good. It's probably a good thing they didn't trade DeAndre Hunter, like even I suggested this offseason. I was like, hey, like, let's try to get some assets for him. This is probably where he caps off skill-wise. And DeAndre Hunter is a most improved player candidate this year. He's been phenomenal this whole season. Like, Clint Capella looks really good, but at the end of the day, is this team still not picking a direction? Maybe, right? Maybe they're not picking a direction still, because do we think they can really win the finals? Probably not, but they remain here with this group of guys and paying a decent amount of money to them, so I guess we'll see. The Boston Celtics not keeping Lonnie Walker. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. We're kind of stretching to try to get something for the Boston Celtics here. Now, was not retaining Lonnie Walker kind of an odd move? Yeah, I'd say so. I think there were other players on the team that I would have rather just tried to trade or move on from or something, because I think Lonnie Walker is a really good basketball player. And look, when you're trying to win a championship, because let's just throw, I hate throwing any name out, but let's just take Jaden Springer, right, who's on the team. Yes, is his contract a little bit bigger than a minimum? Yes. So is it a little bit harder to move him? Yes. I feel like you could have like paid somebody to take him, and you would have saved money at the end of the day in the luxury tax implications to keep Lonnie Walker, because Lonnie Walker's a better player than Springer, and when you're competing for a championship, I just want to have the best players possible at all times, right? I don't want to leave anything up to chance, so I'd rather have Lonnie Walker on my team. Now, he'll get picked up by somebody. He's a good NBA player. He can get you double-digit points any night and play good defense. It's astounding that he's not in the NBA right now, but yeah, overall, the Celtics have had a lot of success, so you can't be complaining too much if you're a Boston Celtics fans. The Brooklyn Nets delaying their dismantling. Okay, yeah, no, I guess that's fair. So what are they saying? They're basically saying the Nets have been too good this season. We all knew on this channel, if you guys were watching, that we figured that was going to happen, right? We looked at the team and we said, this team's actually pretty solid overall. Like, they've got a lot of very quality and consistent players that should be able to play well together. Are they going to like be a dominant team? No, but they should be just fine. And That's how they've been this year. Now, the goal of this team is obviously to lose games, right? Like, they want to tank. They want to go get at one of the top draft picks of this next year. They've got a lot of draft picks going forward. And, they're winning all these games, and they're kind of just waiting and waiting, like, oh, somebody's going to give us a first-round pick for this, or somebody's going to give us this pick. And it wasn't really happening. The market's changed a lot, so now, like, picks are not valued. Or, how should I say? The picks aren't as important as players now, pretty considerably. So they delayed tearing down their team. They've now traded Schroeder. They've traded Dorian Finney-Smith, Shake Milton. Are Claxton and Cam Johnson going to get moved? They're the two guys still kind of left on the team. I guess Bojan's on the team as well, but we'll see if he even plays, I guess. But nonetheless, maybe they waited too long. Maybe it's going to be too hard for them to catch back up with like Toronto, Charlotte, and Washington, who like they just are, all of them are struggling to win games. I saw something like Toronto's given up like 550 points in the last like 4 games or something. Like, what the hell, man? You should just be happy that a couple players on the team look pretty solid. But anyway, yeah, no, delaying tearing this down might hurt them if they don't get a top pick. It's gonna look kind of dumb. So otherwise, it's just kind of a what were you doing this whole season? Because the whole point of this season was basically to get to the next draft. So I don't know. That'll be interesting. Charlotte Hornets bringing back Miles Bridges. Charlotte Hornets fans, go back to my ideal offseason video where I suggested you needed to trade Miles Bridges for a multitude of reasons, and all of you guys were delusional as shit. And so, I say all of you guys, a lot of you guys were like, bro, you don't know ball. You want to get rid of him just because I'm not going to say the crimes he committed, but those were literally the comments like, look, man, he served his time. He let him play again. Like, Jesus Christ, y'all are crazy. Y'all Charlotte Hornets fans have been through so much that you're willing to take on a guy like this on your team just because he put up 20 points every once in a while. Now you're looking at him and like, man, he's playing some rough basketball right now. And I typically don't like to say that like, oh, this guy's playing really, really bad or something like that. I try to put more context behind it. Dude's been playing pretty bad basketball this year, and I don't feel as bad because, look, this dude hasn't exactly done very nice things to other people that don't deserve it. So look at you, Charlotte Hornets. You guys brought this guy back. You were probably hoping to flip him. Now you can't flip him because the value isn't nearly good enough, and you've got this guy culturally who's just not good for the team. So, yep, that was a really big mistake by them. This was really, really dumb, and now you have to pay the consequences of it. We'll see. Like, because he is a super talented basketball player at the end of the day. It's not looking good right now, and that's maybe because of things going on in his personal life. I don't know, but it doesn't look good right now. Maybe he'll find it again at some point, but right now he's hurting the team in multiple ways. Oh, my Chicago Bulls, really? Why did they? What is this picture? We couldn't have like double clicked on this and just dragged it down a little bit. That's a little like Photoshop thing for you guys. But anyway, overpaying Patrick Williams. This is the one that we regret the most. Really? Not holding on to Caruso for too long, or not trading LaVine and Vucevic already for maybe getting some more value? Maybe you weren't going to get as much for Vucevic and LaVine before this season. They're probably worth more now than they were before, I guess. So maybe I can kind of get behind that. Maybe I should be reading this. Getting back only Josh Giddey for Caruso already feels like a wasted opportunity. No, shut up. You haven't been watching Josh Giddey play. Josh Giddey's been awesome. Giddey's been more impactful than Caruso, I'll say, even for the Thunder. Like, Caruso's been really good for the Thunder, but Giddey's got this team rolling offensively. I don't regret that at all. Like, I'm happy with this return. I think we could have gotten maybe more for Caruso than just Josh Giddey, but this makes Josh Giddey seem not good enough, and that's kind of annoying to me. While keeping LaVine and Vucevic around may have helped rehab some of their trade appeal. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we're kind of on the same page here. But yeah, overpaying Patrick Williams for sure. I think we're all kind of holding on to the idea that he's going to be Kawhi Leonard 2.0, and look, I think he has the talent. I'm going to be so real with you. I really think he has the talent to do so. It's just the drive isn't there to do it. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I'd be curious to see if we moved on from LaVine and Vucevic and we kind of made him more of the focal point scorer on the team, what would happen if we just forced him to do it. But at this point, I haven't seen anything from his college career or his NBA career that says that he's going to do something like that. So, yep, a little bit annoyed with that one. Failing to answer the small forward question. What do we mean by that? Because look, Cleveland's the number 1 team in basketball right now, so we can't have too many things to argue about. They've got a Okoro and Strus down here. Like, Strus has been hurt, so whatever. Okoro's still solid. All said and done, Karis LeVert, who sometimes plays that position, has been awesome this year. And look, every other position's clicking right now. So I don't know if that's necessarily a regret. More so like, look, every team can't have everything, right? We can't all be the Boston Celtics and have everything. So I don't I don't know. That feels nitpicky to me, but that's going to happen when you have the top team, I suppose. So I can't fault the person that's writing this article. I'll be curious to see when like Strus gets back how things go. But Kenny Atkinson, like he's been awesome for them. So shout out them. The Dallas Mavericks not getting more value from Jaden Hardy. What do y'all mean by that? The Dallas Mavericks saw enough from Hardy over his first 2 seasons to give him a 3-year, $18 million extension, which is $6 million a year ahead of his third. But it feels like they haven't known how to handle him since. Yeah, no, I mean he's been pushed out of the rotation by other players like Q Grimes, Spencer Dinwiddie's been a lot better. But look, this is a very tradable contract and an interesting player. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that you gave him this. Like, somebody would be interested in him if you tried to trade him. And now, is he kind of a one-dimensional guy in the sense where he's just going to go out there and go get buckets and everything? Like, yeah, those guys only have so much value. But I mean, 3 years, like $6 million a year for a guy like this that could come in and just get you buckets whenever. I don't know. I'm not tripping about that. And like I said, it makes him easily tradable. So I disagree with this one. I think this was a fine move regardless. You just happen to have really good players on the team this year. So I wouldn't overthink that. Denver Nuggets losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for nothing. Yeah. So this is something we talked about in our season preview videos like a lot in our ideal off season. The thing you couldn't do because of the new aprons, and we're all learning how the aprons work, right, is you couldn't just let your player walk. That's the new theme nowadays. You can't let your players just walk if you're a second apron team because you just lose that money then. Like, that money's gone. You don't get to use it anymore. If they would have kept KCP, they keep KCP. They lose KCP and the like $20-ish million or whatever. All you get now is a minimum contract spot. That's all you get because they were second apron and they were paying that much. So that was unfortunate. And look, KCP hasn't been very good this season for the Orlando Magic. He certainly hasn't been playing up to his contract or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure he's a good veteran presence for them and everything, but you'd probably still just rather have him on the team at this point. Maybe not for a long-term contract or something, but it sucks because they haven't been able to replace the production that he was giving them. And yeah, no, that's unfortunate. We'll see what the Denver Nuggets try to do in terms of turning things around and finding some more depth around this team. We will see. Is there anything else like interesting on this one? No, not really. You got Jokic and he should win MVP again. Detroit Pistons paying a premium for Tobias Harris. That's the regret we have? No, I'm sorry, whoever wrote this, you're not, you don't have a high enough understanding of basketball. I'm going to be real with you, and I don't like saying that often, but here's the thing, right? Detroit, how bad have they been the past couple seasons, right? Bad. And they had too many young guys on this team. You didn't have any stable veteran presence. You didn't have any floor space. You're going to say, if you see Tobias Harris can't hit a shot right now. Yeah, you're completely right. I guarantee you having a stable guy like him on the team and in the starting lineup and everything is still valuable for this young group. It's super, super valuable. And he's a 2-year contract. Who gives a fuck? Like, he's going to be gone before you're good anyway. It doesn't matter. Like, you have to hit the salary floor too. Like, you had to pay somebody, so pay him. Who else were you going to pay? There wasn't really anybody this offseason. So no, I disagree with this completely. Who cares, right? Like, who else were you going to go get? This signing made a ton of sense at the time, and it still does in my opinion. Like, I'd rather just have him on the squad helping out Cade and them boys, right? And they've improved this season, all said and done. So I'm cool with it. I don't care whatsoever. Golden State Warriors not getting Steph Curry a co-star. Okay, yeah. I mean, when this offseason? I mean, who were you going to go get? Like, try to get Brandon Ingram. You weren't able to get Lowry. You weren't able to get Paul George. Oh, does it say right here? They followed up with an offseason pursuit of both Lowry Markkanen and Paul George. Well, none of them went there. Like, at the end of the day, there was nothing that you guys could do. Like, Utah wanted to keep Markkanen. Paul George decided not to go there. So, I don't know. I don't know how you blame them for that. They tried. Like, they clearly tried. It just didn't really happen. Now, yeah, since like the last championship run, it sucked that they haven't found a star to put around Curry, because can Curry still be a number one guy on a team? I truly believe so, right? And they haven't been able to find someone to put around him, and that's hard. And it doesn't seem like star players are quite as keen to go there because probably of the system, and it's hard to play in that system. But no, it is hard that they haven't been able to put together a very quality team, and a lot of the young guys haven't really been developing, so you had that whole thing where it's like, look, this team's competing for a championship and developing Jordan Poole, Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, and everything, and they're just loading right back up, and we've learned that Golden State's not very good at developing young players, and it's not really working. So yeah, I'd sure like to see them go get Steph Curry some help, but I don't see the answer available right now, so that's a hard one. Houston Rockets running short on shooters. What is up with these pictures? Who Who did this with these pictures? Yeah, so what, they're saying they just don't have a lot of like catch and shoot type dudes? Yeah, I suppose so. Not a lot of lockdown or knockdown shooters. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I mean, you look at the squad and like Reed Shepherd is kind of the only example of that, and he's shooting horribly from the field. We don't care that much right now because he's a rookie, right? But at the end of the day, he's not helpful. So the Rockets are really, really good. They play kind of a different style of basketball. Would it be nice if they had some like a real floor spacer too that they could throw out there to kind of run around some screens, create some space for Amen or Van Vliet or Green or whoever, right? Sure. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I mean, can't have everything, but also I would say for this team not trading the number 3 pick this year and going and getting like a winning player or something with that pick. Now, internally, I know that the number 3 pick wasn't as valuable as maybe some people would have thought that it would be this draft. I can tell you that NBA GMs all kind of looked at like picks 3 through 12, like in the players projected to go there is basically the same thing. They were like, look, whoever I take with 3, I feel about the same as whoever people take with 12. They're like, they'd be the same overall in 2K, essentially, right? So teams really didn't care that much about those picks, but I think you could have done something and combined some of these other players, like him and a Jalen Green or something, who, obviously in Jalen Green in the offseason, we thought maybe he was turning a corner. He's not. He's not turning a corner. He's still the same player that we know him to be, unfortunately, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done more to try to not have this giant young core where they can't develop everybody, and we could have prioritized some of the more important ones, if you would. Next up on the list, the Indiana Pacers, thinking too long-term at the draft. So taking Johnny Furphy instead of somebody that can help a little bit more right now? Is that what we're saying? The Indiana Pacers parted with 3 first-round picks for Pascal Siakam, and the team was fully focused on the present. So why didn't they follow that mindset on draft night? I guess who else was available? It was doable, though, as players like AJ Mitchell and Jalen Wells both were still on the board when the Pacers... Okay, look, I hate when people do this, when they're like, oh, well, these second-round guys that are playing so well were available, so you could have gone and got them. It's like, look, if I'm being real, right, when I've made my my rankings list that I actually handed into an NBA team and everything, I'm like, this is my order of how good I think the players are. Johnny Furphy was ahead of those two. They just were. Like, I was probably higher on AJ Mitchell than most people were. I wasn't very high on Jalen Wells. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't see this out of him, and he's probably rookie of the year in my eyes right now. If not, or maybe it's Missy and then Wells, but regardless, I had Furphy above them, so I can't fault this logic at all. I'd be a hypocrite if I did that, and I don't know. I think Furphy probably can contribute a little bit more. Like, their logic, though, is saying, like, you should have taken an older player, right? That's a little bit more ready to contribute right about now, and Furphy can't contribute a ton at this point because he's really, really young and he's raw and everything. I love the effort that he gives, but I don't know. I don't think I can trip too much about that because, honestly, I might have told you that, like, yeah, AJ Mitchell, probably a better contributor right away than Johnny Furphy. But I also would have said you really don't need AJ Mitchell on your team. You need more of a wing. So I probably would have told you to get a Furphy over Wells. So while that was the wrong decision at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't think I can fault you for that. Like, I think most scouts would have told you the same thing. So Clippers getting nothing for Paul George. I mean, shit. Yeah, right. You didn't figure it out. You didn't retain a guy. That's pretty simple. I mean, the Clippers are doing fine right now. I think they found themselves in a decent place. I'm still going to tell you guys that I think the Clippers should trade a lot of their guys now because I just don't believe that this team is necessarily going anywhere, but I can't fault a team for wanting to win basketball games. So I guess that's fine at the end of the day. But yeah, losing Paul George for nothing, I don't need to explain that one any further. It sucks, right? You put so much into this guy and you weren't able to retain him. I don't understand the logic in that, right? You put all this effort into getting the guy and then you don't keep him. And Paul George has been a good player. I mean, he's been hurt, unfortunately, at some key moments, but is what it is. Not addressing the supporting cast sooner. Okay, interesting for the Lakers. I go so back and forth with this one because genuinely, when looking at the group of guys that, like, they wanted to trade, right? Like, yes, I understand Gabe Vincent, I understand Vanderbilt, right? And guys like that, you want to move those guys. They're not very helpful basketball players right now. Guys like D'Lo and like Rui or even Reeves, like Reeves is kind of like they probably weren't planning on trading him. Like Rui and Russell are good basketball players at the end of the day. Like Rui's had a really good season for the Lakers all said and done, so I'm not tripping about him at all. And like D'Angelo Russell's really good when he's on. Yes, he's had a rough basketball season this year. He was starting to pick it up before he just recently got traded, but I don't know. Like when the Lakers went and brought in all those guys, I thought they were great moves. So I can't trip about it too much. I don't know. And I'm still not positive that the Dorian Finney-Smith move was the correct move at the end of the day. Like, we don't know if this is going to be that helpful or not until we see what else they do and how they address the point guard position and things like that. I don't know. Obviously, the cast that they had isn't perfect, but I don't think it was a bad one necessarily either. So I don't know. Is like the bench players, yes, it's a little bit more challenging, right? But is what it is. Is what it is. Memphis Grizzlies getting greedy in trade talks. What do we mean by that? Fueled by the return of Morant and the rival Zeki, the Memphis Grizzlies have regained their place among the Western Conference elites. I would say it's also like Santi Aldama's been playing really good. Like Laravia's been good for them off the bench. Like Brandon Clark looks healthy again. Like there's been a lot of reasons why this team has been really good. Oh yeah, and nailing the draft with Jalen Wells. Yeah, no, the Grizzlies killed it with their draft, didn't they? They almost had a trade fall in their lap. Dorian Finney-Smith. Yeah, so like I say with every video in the Grizzlies, I don't want to like beat a dead horse with it, but for a team that's so good, they still have some glaring issues, which are the center position. Even though they've got a lot of solid ones, they could probably use a true starting center, and they could probably use a better wing player, like a sizable wing player. So they tried to go after Dorian Finney-Smith. We thought that's where he was going to go, actually, was Memphis, before the Lakers came in and swooped him up. So apparently the Grizzlies were playing too much hardball and everything, and they lost out on him. Fair enough. They also missed out on getting guys like Nick Claxton this offseason and stuff. So fair enough. I mean, I guess. I guess, right? I don't know. I think overall this team has done fine. They're still going to make a move at some point. There's no way this team doesn't make a move. So I think we're fine. I'm not tripping about it. Miami Heat calling out Jimmy Butler. So they're saying Pat Riley basically has caused this little like media circus around the Heat, which is very abnormal for them, which I don't know. Like the Heat are pretty open about calling people out. I mean, they called out Tyler Hero in the offseason and look what it's done, right? I mean, look at how much better he looks and stuff. This team is about accountability. And I don't know. If you're being accountable all the time with people and you're holding them to a high standard, I think that's a friend at the end of the day. That's somebody that's trying to make you better. That's truly how I believe it. So I don't know. I think you're kind of a bitch if you got problems with this type of stuff. But that's just me. That's just me at the end of the day. So no. Not tripping about it. Not tripping. Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, I totally agree with this one. Chasing upside at the draft. I was very vocal about this at the draft, that I thought the Milwaukee Bucks really fucked things up. I was like, this is stupid. Their first round pick, AJ Johnson, right? I was like, this guy's not going to be able to contribute for like 2 to 3 years. We're trying to win championships right now. Like, there were players we could go get right then and there that would have been better. I don't know. You think of any number of guys in this draft that fell like second round or late first round or something. I even think just like a Ryan Dunn or something like that. Think about how valuable he'd be for this team, right? I think anything would have been helpful because Johnson just can't be on the court right now. He's not good enough. So it's just a waste of a first round pick, man. You could have gotten something to help you out right now. And like they're looking for bench help right now. So I don't know, could have been something. Tyler Smith, on the other hand, I like him, and I figured he'd be able to contribute a little bit more. I still knew he'd be a project. So, yes, they're correct in this. Like, Tyler Smith would have been a great second pick if their first pick would have been someone that could play right now. But who knows? Maybe these guys are great like 4 years from now. I really like Tyler Smith's game. Personally, AJ, I'm just kind of like meh on, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean that they can't become great. I hope that every player becomes great that gets drafted. I hope that's abundantly clear on this channel, right? We're never just giving up on people like 2-3 years into their NBA career. Never. But, I don't know, maybe they become something at some point. It's just they should have taken someone that can help right now. And I don't know, then I would have been cool with Tyler Smith because I like him a little bit more long term. But yeah, no, bad decision by the Bucks, and they're paying for it. Minnesota Timberwolves trading Karl Anthony Towns. I am so glad that I ended up on the right side of this because I felt really guilty about this at first when I was like, look, I like to be Mr. Logical, right? Mr. Analytical. That's what I try to be on YouTube. I really try to look at things from both perspectives and everything. And I was like, damn, the Timberwolves perspective is literally like, look, we got this team, right, that they're good, right? They're really good. We almost made the finals, but do we really think this team can win the finals? Because if we don't, and we're taking a hard look at ourselves, we need to break up this team a little bit right now, because otherwise we're stuck with this group for like the next 4 seasons, and we don't want to waste Anthony Edwards. They looked at themselves in the mirror. They said, nope, we don't think we can. They traded Cat. And I was like, man, I totally get that. And that's a really responsible way to look at things. There's also the culture side of things where I was like, this team has been bad for forever. Literally only one other good season in their existence outside of last year. And it was because of, like, a big part of it was Cat. Like, this team doesn't know how to play offense. Finch can't coach an offense, and they don't have very many offensive players. And so it was just Ant and Cat trying to make things happen the whole time. And then you traded Cat, and it's like, you kind of just showed your cards to this team right away that as soon as they found a little bit of success, pulled the rug out from under them, and you're like, well, we're not actually that good. And I think that's sent a bad message throughout the Timberwolves, and they're paying for it right now. I know Timberwolves fans cannot wait to get rid of Randall. He's got great nights sometimes, but man, is he hard to watch play basketball overall. So sorry, Timberwolves fans, it's that's unfortunate. New Orleans Pelicans never realizing what they had in Dyson Daniels. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure I understand this. They traded him for DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray's a very good basketball player. Like, clearly, like, he was the focal point of the trade, so, like, clearly they did value him a pretty good amount. And think about it this way, right? Like, Dyson Daniels and what we know him as right now, like, elite defensive basketball player, right? We already knew that in New Orleans. We already knew he was really good at defense. He's obviously elevated himself in a bigger role, but, like, was he ever going to fit with Brandon Ingram and Zion and whatever else they were trying to do there? No, they wanted to go get a new point guard, and DeJounte Murray's just a better all-around basketball player, so they went and got him. I don't think that's a big deal. They had a bunch of other wings that they were trying to develop and everything. So, no, I think this is completely incorrect. Like, they probably did value him pretty highly, but they're like, doesn't fit on the team. We can go get this better player right now, so go be free, hope the best for you, right? So, I don't know. I completely disagree with that one. I don't think that makes sense. New York Knicks for getting their all-in during the draft. Okay, interesting. So what are we saying at this? So they're saying because they took Pacome Dadier, who's more of a project, that's not what they should have done. Okay, yeah, no, that's probably fair, honestly. So I actually like Dadier as like a long-term option for the team. I think he could be a solid player in a couple years. I'm not saying anything great, but maybe like 8th, 9th man type dude, which is cool, right? You know, like having the prospect of something like that, but yeah, no, this team's trying to win now. We knew that going into the draft and everything. That's totally fair. And this team doesn't have any depth, right? They basically just play their 5 starters and like Miles McBride a little bit, and that's it, right? That's their team. So Tom Thibodeau's looking for anything to help him out because he just doesn't trust anyone else on the team. So maybe if they take a Deron Holmes or a Ryan Dunn, yeah, okay, they say Ryan Dunn waves hello. Yep, if I would have been a scout for this team or something, I'd probably tell you that, like, yeah, I'd take Ryan Dunn before I'd take Dadier, right? So, yeah, no, I guess that's a regret at the end of the day. So, like, he would have been able to help them a lot more right now. So, fair enough. I won't act like there was a ton of great options. Like, maybe you take, like, a Baylor Shireman or something like that, too. That could have helped you a little bit more right away. So, yeah, no, that's fair. Oklahoma City Thunder being too patient with their first pick. Okay, the Thunder forced us to split hairs here. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, like, this team hasn't made many mistakes. There simply isn't too much to look back on. They turned Josh Giddey into Alex Caruso. Again, like, why do we think so small of Josh Giddey? Josh Giddey's really, really good. They got Isaiah Hartenstein. Turning the number 12 pick in Topic could prove a stroke of genius. He was widely regarded as a top 5 prospect, blah, 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 blah. His upside is enormous. I don't know if I'd say that personally. I don't think anybody saw anybody in this draft with an enormous outside. I said Salon in Charlotte has enormous upside, but I said it was going to be hard to get him there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said that about anybody. Oklahoma City could have used the pick on someone who could contribute right away. This team has so much depth. Like, no, they were able to take a swing on things. I think it's interesting that they took a swing on Topic and Dylan Jones. Like, those were the kind of the positions that didn't make much sense to me. Like, this felt like a Khalil Ware type pick to me at the time, and it just didn't turn into one. So I don't know, but the Thunder love taking these upside things, and like, yes, was he projected a lot higher than like Ware? Sure, I wouldn't say it was like crazy difference in skill though, like skill level. Like I said, picks like 3 through 12, 13 are the same thing in my eyes and a lot of other scouts' eyes and teams' eyes. So I don't know. I feel like you just go for the positional need a little bit more, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I can't judge this too much because the Thunder are really, really good right now, so it's not like they're suffering because of it. So, fair enough. Orlando Magic, yeah, nope, this is fair. Not adding a perimeter score. We've talked about this the whole season with the Orlando Magic, and they've had an awesome season. They've been a fun team to watch for. They're everybody's Cinderella team, right, because of all the effort that they give. They're going through a lot of hardships right now, but every time we watch this team, we're like, if they just had a bucket getter on the perimeter or a guard that could go get you some buckets, it'd be great. Cole Anthony, like, he can do it, but his game is missing so many other factors, right? Jalen Suggs, that's just not his game at the end of the day. He's not a bucket getter. Even though he scores a decent amount of points sometimes, it's just not what he does. We all go back to the Anthony Simons trade, which made a lot of sense. Maybe going and getting a Colin Sexton or a Kobe White or something like that. I'm not saying it has to be like an elite player. It's just they need someone that can score some points. And now they're kind of in a space where it doesn't make a ton of sense to make a move. We'll see if they still do, but yeah, no, this team could have elevated itself a little bit further if they would have done that, at least in my opinion. The Sixers not re-signing or replacing Buddy Hield. I found that to be strange that, like, they did that and then they, like, just didn't play Buddy Hield at all. And I don't know, the thing with Buddy Hield that people have to remember is, like, you have to actually, like, play this guy and play him consistently. It's the same thing I said with Tim Hardaway Jr. with the Mavericks when everybody was kind of shitting on him, is I'm like, these, like, microwave scorers need time to get rhythm and stuff, and you just have to play them that way. You can't blame the player for, like, not just being able to come in and hit 1 3 and come out of the game, right, in a short amount of time. That's just not how the play works. It's not how the feel for basketball works. So, I don't know. Yeah, it was just weird what they did with Buddy Hield at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'd say overall the Sixers' experience with Buddy Hield was strange. Just didn't make much sense. So yeah, I can agree with that. Phoenix Suns ignoring reality. Tell me what reality is. It's easy to get caught up in the Suns' star power, carried away with what might be possible. Doing so, of course, ignores first round sweep, sub 500 start. Some will want to blame injuries. Well, I do, as if they don't impact other teams. And as if they don't impact other teams and weren't an enormous concern with the Suns when the Suns opted to surround Devin Booker with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Well, yeah, they're concerns, but like you said, it's every single team. So, like, they've had probably some worse injury luck than other people at the end of the day. And look, yeah, they did build their team around 3 stud players, but that's a viable strategy. So, I don't know. I think that's dumb. Like, you can try to prevent injuries and stuff like that at the end of the day. So, no, I disagree with this. I think this team's doing a good job overall. It's just unfortunate that players are hurt. It's just, do you want to keep rolling the dice on that and see if it works? Because it's obviously really frustrating when it's not. This team looks really, really rough when the big 3 aren't out there, which they seem to never be. So yeah, do you want to keep trying with that? That's kind of more so up to the owners and stuff, what they want to do, but I don't fault this team at all. I think it's fine. The Trailblazers overvaluing Jeremy Grant. Yeah, no, they should have done something with him. I like kind of understood when they signed him at the time. I was like, okay, you're a young team. You want to just have a stable presence, kind of a landing pad player for these young guys you're bringing in. Fine. That makes sense, right? I get that. They've continued to build a stupid roster around the rest of their young players, which you guys have heard me talk about way too much. So go watch another video if you want to hear me dive into that even more, because I'm sure I talk about it plenty. But yeah, then they tried to trade him and stuff. They're like, yep, we're dangling him. People want him. But they're like, we want 2 first-round picks for him and stuff. And it just seems like Portland's like never keyed in with the rest of the league on the value of people whatsoever. And so yeah, now nobody's trading for him. You probably can't even get a first-round pick for him now, in all honesty, with how the picks are valued nowadays. Like, I probably value Dennis Schroeder higher than I value Jeremy Grant, and we saw what Schroeder went for, so there it is. And I know some people will be in the comments like, you value Dennis Schroeder over him? Look how he's playing Golden State so far. You're dumb. Look in the mirror. It's totally fine. But yeah, no, they overvalued him. That's probably fair. Sacramento Kings extending Mike Brown. Okay, so the Sacramento Kings, there's going to be something that they regret around Mike Brown. I don't know if it's extending him as much as it was firing him, in my opinion. It just didn't make sense to me. Like, I just felt like there were so many other problems, and this just feels like a panic move, right? Everybody online saying it's a panic move. It is kind of a panic move where it's like, why isn't our team that looks good on paper working? And like, we should just blame the coach and hope that fixes things. And it's like, I don't think this was one of those. It's not like you had like a borderline good coach. Like, to me, Mike Brown's a really good coach. He's going to get another job pretty quickly, in my opinion. So I don't know. This just felt like a stupid Sacramento Kings thing. And I'm back to thinking the Sacramento Kings are a poverty franchise. So that's me. And I'm not going to get excited about them again until they start to prove me otherwise. And basically go like 2 years without doing something really fucking stupid. And maybe I'll believe it. But we'll see. The San Antonio Spurs not giving Wemby more help. I disagree with this completely. Just be patient, y'all. TikTok has made all of us so impatient, hasn't it? And that's a broad statement. But you guys know what I'm saying, right? So just wait. This is his 2nd season. He's already a top 10 player in basketball. He's phenomenal, right? He is dominating everybody right now. He's probably the most dominant force in basketball outside of like Jokic right now, I'd say, on both ends of the court, maybe Shea. So just relax, right? We're in our second season. The Spurs are very good at being patient, making sure they select the perfect people at the right time. They're very poignant about that stuff. They brought in Chris Paul. He's elevated the team. This team is like above 500 right now. That's a win in and of itself. That's a big improvement for this team. They brought in Harrison Barnes. Like, hey, savvy veteran player that's been around a lot of championship level basketball, some really good players. We need a wing that can help us. There you go. You guys can have Harrison Barnes. We're going to let some other guys develop, see what's going on. They did the smart thing, and they were like, hey, we took Castle. Castle, we think, can be a nice player for us. I don't know what his long-term fit on the team is necessarily, but he's incredibly talented, and he fits the culture, so that's really good. We've got him, and then they got to their second top 10 pick, and they were like, we don't see anybody here that's all that great. They were correct, and they're like, so we're going to turn this into a future asset that's going to make more sense for us down the line. Great. We're in no hurry to win championships right now. Wemby's in his second year. The team's getting better. He's getting better. Young guys are starting to look even better. Like, I like Trey Jones. I like Sohan. I like Vassell. Are there things that I'd like to fix in each of their games? Yeah, but they're young. We're going to be patient. We're going to let them figure it out. They're going to get another high pick this year and a guy that can probably be a star in this draft. So great, right? There we go. They'll figure it out. They've got a lot of assets to do so we'll see. Toronto Raptors not finding a Bruce Brown deal at the deadline. Yeah, Bruce Brown hasn't played like basketball really since, has he? So yeah, probably should have flipped him in some capacity because now his value's kind of like bleh. Bruce Brown, when he's healthy, Swiss Army knife type dude, good basketball player, but yeah, this one's pretty simple. Yeah, they probably just should have traded him because now his value is bad. So yeah, fair enough. That's an easy one. Utah Jazz selling low on Ochai Agbaji. I don't know. Like, yeah, Agbaji has become like not just a nonsense player now, and that seems harsh, but he was kind of just a nothing, and now he's like solid role player, good. I'm not tripping about thinking that he's any better than that, in my opinion. Like, I think his stats are a little bit inflated. I wasn't very high on him to begin with, and I'm not trying to like just stay with that opinion to stay with that opinion. I just haven't seen anything to say like, okay, yeah, this guy's like starter level good in the NBA. Like, I don't really see that personally. So I'm not tripping about it. I think he's just getting a consistent opportunity, and that's what happens to players when they get that, right? So fair enough. I'm not tripping about it if I'm Utah. I think they did the right thing in turning Olynyk and Agbaji into that pick. So yeah, no, there you go. That's how I feel. The Washington Wizards letting Kyle Kuzma dictate their 2024 deadline. Yeah, that was idiotic. That was one of the dumbest things ever. And that's the Washington Wizards. I feel so bad that these lists are always in alphabetical order because it always ends on a negative note with the Wizards. It's never a good thing with the Wizards because they're the saddest franchise in basketball. I'm sorry, they just are, right? They have no future, no nothing right now. And so, yeah, for a refresher, they had a trade set up to send Kuzma to Dallas. And they were like, hey, do you want to go? And he was like, no, probably because he just gets to do whatever the fuck he wants in Washington, right? And he doesn't care about winning, apparently. And they were like, okay, well, you can stay here then. What? For Kyle Kuzma? This isn't LeBron. Like, relax, right? Like, just, no, you weren't going anywhere. Now Kuzma's having a bad season for his standards, right? So I don't know. That was really dumb. Like, Wizards, you don't have any like draft capital or anything going forward. You don't have like a future you're building around or anything. So just move on. Go get some assets and stuff like that. Kyle Kuzma can help some other team. He doesn't need to be your problem. He makes the team worse right now. Just go do something else, please. But that's the Washington Wizards. They're not going to do anything. But anyway, those are all of our regrets from 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed this therapy session with me. And yeah, no, I appreciate it as always. But hey, again, like, subscribe, and comment. I respond to every single comment to my YouTube channel. And hey, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye.